Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
In the submission of Mr. Bukenya and Mr. Bamunova.
First of all, us who are candidates and political parties, there is a tendency to blame the Electoral Commission for what they have not done and us failing to do what we are supposed to do. Today, the Electoral Commission delivered, at least in my constituency, election polling day materials. And the law requires that the Electoral Commission invites political parties that are sponsoring candidates and candidates to witness and even record serial numbers. At the beginning in the morning when they were bringing the materials, I was the only candidate available. The NRM were not there, NUP was not there. There was security, RDC and others. And I said, you see, the law says be present, record serial numbers. You are not there, but you are calling. So we are collectively in this. I am not comfortable with the Electoral Commission delivering polling day materials a week before. But I spoke to the Electoral Commission and I want to thank them. They were both Wakiso and Chira. They have been very responsive. They inform you of the requirements in the law and then invite you to witness. When they were training polling presiding officer and polling assistant, they invited us. Again, others didn't come. So the candidates themselves make a lot of noise and they have less capacity to follow these many processes that are happening. From upon, I am always objective. I am always. So,
He's giving it to Electoral Commission.
Where they have done the right thing, I commend them. And I want them to own up where they have made mistakes. If you are supposed to deliver a register to political parties and you are still fidgeting with it 5 days to go, fidgeting with it,
it was the calm before
don't
the
explain it away, admit and then seek to correct. As far as security is concerned, because that's delivery of material training, I have been invited as a candidate to witness. I have sent my official agents to be part of the processes to run, and I want to thank them because if they chose to keep quiet, I wouldn't have known.
Have you also interacted with the BVMs, with the biometric machines?
No, the machines, I haven't seen them because they are all packed. They are all packed in that black box. But they told me when they were training, those operators and the places where the training was meant to take place. That's why I said I thank them, and I assume they informed everybody else. If people didn't turn up, it is their problem.
So the country is on course. The machines are here.
The processes are okay, and I think they are trying, but when they make a mistake, they try to explain it away. Instead of saying, you guys here, we've made a mistake, can we collectively find a solution? Where I have a problem is with the security. And I don't think this political commission here can answer. Because what Muhoozi Kainerugaba says, in Uganda, it has become a law. These ones will refuse to implement. And that's why you see you're asking him questions, he's answering like this. He can't answer because he's fearing Muhoozi, and they all fear him. Remember what he told Erweru, that you buffoon, I will deal with you, and Erweru was removed from the military. So this, I sympathize with him. First, even before Electoral Commission...
It's police mandated to run security.
You no longer have police in the real sense of police. They have become part of the military run by Muhoozi. If he says go and beat this one, will run. And then he will be on radio and TV to explain that actually beating these days is very good because Muhoozi Kainerugaba has said so. This whole problem of ordering voters to go home, Ofono Opondo has spoken very well. You ought to have guided voters. We hear they are saying this and that. Please, you can be around as the law says, but if you do the following, we will remove you. Nobody will be blaming you. But you start by amending and reversing the law. Then why was it made? go home, and then the chairman of the electoral commission is acting like a cheerleader. Oh, if you don't go, they are going to pick you like a grasshoppers. And that's the chairman responsible for this exercise.
Kenya will tell us maybe he could have been quoted out of context.
There is no context there. So the law is very clear.
Yes,
You can stay if you choose. And the police does not even have to announce that if you commit a crime, will come for you. Because even if you commit a crime inside the polling station, police can still come and pick you. So it was needless for you to go on radio and everyone begin proclaiming, because it is your responsibility. Even if it is an election officer who has committed a crime. Because assuming I go to vote and the man boxes me, you mean you will not pick him because he's a presiding officer? No, I am saying I sympathize with you because you are trying to validate something wrong. And it doesn't matter how many times you will go on TV to say this is okay because people are many, what. The law says if they choose, they can stay. Your responsibility is to tell them once a crime is committed or it is suspected, who will come in and nobody is going to blame you. But when you begin ordering against the law, it means you're acting in bad faith. And
Honorable Semuji,
yes.
You are saying the machines are here, you trust them.
I fear because you see, and I was on a radio station this evening and I told the people, knowing the NRM people, I'm not sure they have bought the right machines. You remember in Chogam?
No, they were procured by Electoral Commission.
It doesn't matter. There are NRM people who you will not see, but they are usually responsible for procurement. In Chogam, they told them to buy limousines for visiting heads of state. Government vehicles are supposed to be manual. Jim Muhez and others went and brought automatic. Then they spread them in garages in Kampala to try to fix, change gearboxes. So I sympathize also with Kenya, who is trusting these machines bought by NRM. You wait, they are going to fail.
Okay. What is your degree of skepticism about...
The issue here, because I have heard Kenya himself announcing, at least on one radio station, that when the machines fail, no voting. That is not provided for in the law. And my earlier interaction with, Kenya, he had said the principal document is the voters register. Because the machines are supposed to identify a voter, and they are not, the reason you continue carrying
the register.
The reason you continue carrying a physical register, it is because that physical register, which you have also issued to the political parties, is the principal document. This machine whose duty is to identify, if it fails, you cannot disenfranchise people.
Okay, thank you.
You
Mr.
cannot.
Kenya, what if machines fail?
Of course, we have, I wouldn't, you asked what is the degree of skepticism?
No.
Parliament.
What if the machine is
I'm
failed?
answering the question.
Yes.
It is in context.
Yes.
You started it, you gave it context. And you asked about the degree of skepticism. Of course, it didn't give the percentages, but you know. Okay? So the machines have been brought in to support, improve the integrity of our elections. They are designed to meet that need of authenticating the voter's identity. We've used them before. We've identified where challenges have been coming from. And we've put in place a system to ensure that the machine operates at each of the 50,000 polling stations. It's the reason we are deploying 2 units per polling station. So that 1 unit is enough. Of course, it has enough power. The training is such that it can be used to authenticate and verify the identity of voters.
Okay. Past experience reveals
we
that
have
machines
put in place,
have been failing despite
we have put in
assurances.
place, but failing due to what? Because we've looked at power, we've looked at other things and strengthened those areas. Now the purpose is to make sure that if one machine gets an issue, we definitely deploy the second machine. And our objective is to make sure that everyone is biometrically identified.
What
that
if
the machines
the
do not
biometrics fail?
We are not looking at machines failing. We're working to ensure that they perform
Is there a
job.
possibility that they will fail?
I don't want to approach it like that because I've trained and deployed 2 units at a polling station.
And
I've deployed them to perform the function for which they have been designed. But of course, we've put in our guideline a provision that if you're not able to verify, there is support. There is support at every level within the district, at national level, at regional level, at district level. The machines are designed to work, and they're supposed to be part of the process.
You've had the misgivings from the key players in this election. Yes.
I think Kenya you're being disingenuous. Even a brand new machine
Can fail.
tested. Those of us who fire guns.
Eh?
Yes.
But you like violence of one opponent. Why don't you say vehicle?
Yes, yes. This is practical.
You should say those of us who are driving
Yes.
vehicles. So your mind goes to the gun
Yes.
immediately.
Your gun, you can service it, but you go to the field.
Please
and
use the
it
vehicle.
fails. A vehicle can fail. You can
Yes.
park it in the evening,
And in the morning.
and in the morning it fails. And here we are discussing very serious matters. You may even have 5 machines,
And they all fail.
and either because the person you assumed you trained has good knowledge of the machines, and there are 3 of them, you try each of them, and the machines, the 5 machines fail. Either because of technicality or because the operators don't know fully, as you assume.
Because they've been trained in haste.
Tell us, really,
No, it is not in haste.
if you don't have answer, you say, I am going to find out, and we need to help the commission that we should have a fallback position if the machine fails.
Now,
But-
phone opponent, you're
Yes,
speaking
but you
like
cannot say you cannot say the
of-
machine can't fail. How?
No, I never say that the machine can't fail.
No,
Of
no,
course
this is
so.
what you have
Oh,
said
oh,
here.
no. No.
You said you have a
No, you
backup.
kept saying, which is why I said that in case, that's why we talked about the layers of the, the layers
Are
that
you,
have been
are
put
you
in
saying
place.
you are, the voter who's already there should
Of
wait
course you
and
stop-
wait for the sub-county?
No, you
should
stop
wait for
the
district?
process. You stop the process and do the necessary interventions.
What are
Because
those
in this
necessary
election,
interventions? What are those
because
necessary
in this election, no.
You see,
No.
you are the one.
It's actually an
This-
area of
the-
concern
the-
when we're
the-
using digital.
No.
When we're using
Okay, shall we allow Bukenya?
let me
make
give you the position.
Yes.
Because this
But
is what the
don't
commission is.
Kulandaga, don't do this.
No, I've not done that. Because I've told you that.
Your phone opponent is always not a very good friend. You
No,
can't turn against
and I don't have a problem. I'm sitting near
Yes, but you see, where I
please
see,
allow
where I
him
see
make
him
his response.
walking into a ditch, which will eventually make the electoral process shabby. Because really, how can you say on this show that a machine can't fail?
I never said the machine can't fail, but I said in the event
You are now
that that's
changing.
why there are 2 units. In case there is a problem with unit 1, there's unit 2. But then I talked about the support which is in place for at a district level, at even regional level, to intervene where a polling station has a problem.
So it's unlikely.
So
that-
while you can postpone polling, because polling can be postponed for reasons. We postponed polling because of a problem at a polling station. You can hold
So
on to
you are
polling.
ruling out manual.
Now, no, manual is
Manual
still used,
voting.
but every voter in this election must be biometrically verified and identified and ascertained. That is
You
the
see-
design of this election.
Okay, okay. Let me ask him. A villager was run from her garden or his garden with sweat and dust. And for that reason, the machine fails to identify the face. What happens?
But of course, we are identifying the fingerprint or the face.
Everything
If-
has
if the
failed.
finger-
In
fingerprint
case
can
we
have
cannot,
failed.
in case there is a disability and you cannot be identified using any of that, the National Voters Register is used to identify you, of course. But of course, now the unit is doing more than just identifying your features. It is also assigned to identify the ballot papers at that polling station.
You see,
What are the chances that these machines, this system, can be manipulated in one way or the other?
Njara, you're taking us now to another question.
I think no,
yes.
as a result of possible
no,
technical
but
issues. And our concern, I think the BVVK is a very good system. We're not disputing that. But we have concerns about possibilities of disenfranchisement of voters due to some technicalities that could arise. Has the Electoral Commission considered those, and what assurances would we have that such disenfranchisement would not happen?
I think we've looked at scenarios because we know them that could arise and bring challenges in the use of biometrics. And that's why there is all this structure.
I've just described of a farmer who runs with a dirty hand, with the sweat and dust, and at the polling station you have not provided water for washing the hands, for example.
But
Water
why
for
would
washing
someone
the-
come to a polling station when they are dirty like that?
Why shouldn't they come?
Are you going to prevent somebody from coming
No,
to
but
vote because
either
they are
way,
dirty?
a person will still be. You are using a situation that doesn't even
Are you
realize.
sure?
But
Then
people,
I think you're talking.
no, but I
Because
think
it's a
what we
valid
could look at,
concern.
You
if
see,
I can conclude this,
Njara.
because I needed to.
Yes,
to
let's
give a
give
good
him chance.
picture.
You ask.
Before
I
I
needed
came here,
to give a picture.
I
with
was
the-
appearing with other colleagues for another talk show on a radio station. And in his own voice, Bukenya, he said if the machine is failed, there will be no voting. Am I lying?
Of course, you hold on to voting until you come in and intervene with the measures that I've talked about.
What if
there
they
is
completely fail?
Because you're talking about a unit failing, and I'm talking about this unit here failing, and I'm talking about backup support to make sure that voters are verified and identified biometrically through the support system. Because there's a support system
Who
that
has
will bring in a
approved?
new kit.
Who has approved these machines? If the MPs themselves recently
They were taking
expressed
7 minutes,
reservations,
7 minutes per MP.
the test that
Because there were trainings, there were explanations, that's why we were going through a lengthy process.
Okay.
But the piloting of this, the testing of this, the simulations that we've done with the voters is such that just like it takes to swipe you and enter into this station here,
You
it
see,
takes seconds to
the
identify.
trouble, and I need, we need
I
to
think
give,
we are talking
we
IT
need to
now.
give
No,
this
no, no.
context.
I think
We need to give this context. Mr. Museveni was made to believe, I think by his handlers, that he was cheated in the last election, and he believed it. Those who ate his money made him believe. So he proclaimed that their voters will now be identified by machines. Then, like in the case of the policeman, who must find a way of implementing Moses' order, now these ones, because you ask all these questions in Parliament, that Mr. Museveni is ordering that if the machine is failed, no elections. Tell us the best of the law. Then they said, you know, his handlers who are also speakers, they said, where did he say it? And it ended there. So Kenya is not stating a position of electoral commission generated in a meeting. They are all trying to find a way of implementing Museveni's wish, because Museveni, who is a candidate, said if the machine is failed,
No, but
and that's why even the
electoral
even the
commission
procurement itself
is mandated.
I have read the 2.5 years to take plan of the electoral commission. These machines were never there. That's why they came rushing recently, looking for a supplementary budget to begin to implement this exercise. So where we are now, and I agree with Ofono, what the electoral commission should have done is to say we think they will not fail, but if they fail, we will find a solution. Even if they leave it at that, it will give some hope.
But
for you to pretend that...
But you can hear Mr. Bukenya is saying, why should a voter come when they are dirty?
but you know, you're talking about a situation.
No, I'm asking you, Bukenya. First of all, 50% of the voters or more are rural people
working,
who will be coming from the garden. Have you ever bothered to find out why people come to vote, majority of them turn up after 11, after midday?
They start in the gardens, definitely.
Yes, exactly. Now, are you going to give each of them water?
And so,
wash their hands and their face?
And Honorable, I know you know that people are also responsible as they present them at polling stations.
You see,
they come with VLS, they come with...
No, I think Justice Byabakama, the president might have insisted that we use biometric. That's well and good if we want to. But I think we need to have the manual backup.
But the register, there is a register at the polling station.
But you are saying they shouldn't use it.
What's wrong with you saying we shall fall back in that rare extreme
No, but the position of the Electoral Commission is that it will be fully biometric. And that explains why they have spare
Mr.
kits.
Bukenya, to say why should people come dirty? Are you going to govern them that first bathe and come?
No, but you know we are mobilizing voters. We are teaching them how to
let me get to
at polling stations.
I can see.
I
can see why.
Let me get to polling.
I can see why our public administration runs into trouble because of having people like Bukenya.
How deep
is going to
the trust
them
issue towards the forthcoming election? Even as we talk about the biometric machines, do you think there is a level of trust amongst Ugandans towards how this entire exercise is going to be run?
Well, the trust element may be an issue, and I think trust is built with the level of engagement, the level of information that is provided. That is why when I was speaking earlier, I said that we credit the Electoral Commission for being responsive. It's very important for people to know. You cannot underestimate the importance of voters to that basic level that we're talking about, knowing what is happening. Now, this BVVK system, as we have said, is generally a good thing. We want to make sure that the process is more secure. However, are we sure that generally our population has understood? You know, we've described this particular voter, and when we're looking at things from a human rights perspective, we want to look at that most vulnerable person, because we don't want anyone to be disenfranchised. We can sit here in Kampala and Kampala Metropolitan and assume that things will generally go okay.
As you credit the Electoral Commission,
but
was there any kind of voter education that you heard of?
Ours is civic education. We do the civic education, but honestly, that is one of the challenges we've had in this cycle. We have not had sufficient funding or resources to do civic education. I don't want to go into the details of the level of budgeting and what that.
So even EC has not conducted voter education.
Yeah, so both of them have done nothing.
I don't want to speak for Electoral Commission, but there has been a real concern around civic education. But also, why should we start to talk or hype civic education right toward the election? This is something that should be ongoing even 2, 3 years, 4 years ahead. So there has been a challenge in that. But I wanted to go back to the issue of the BVVK, and I'm not saying this in a manner to put the Electoral Commission on the spot, but to say that we anticipate that there might be challenges that could cause disenfranchisement that we think the Electoral Commission should bear in mind and address. Mr. Bukenya has not been able to actually tell us what would happen. Yes, he said that you don't have to have polling on that at that exact point. But so what are the measures that are in place? It would be good for the public to know what measures has the Electoral Commission put in place. Should we, in the unlikely event that we have that challenge?
Yes, Pauline, and before I shift to Afande Babunova, where do you think the biggest spotlight of voters should be? Is it on the Electoral Commission or the conduct of security this time?
You know, Mr. Angela, and I said it earlier when I was speaking, when we talk about elections, ideally, security should be on the outskirts of that discussion, because this is a civic right that we all enjoy. The role of security, as always, is to ensure law and order and to ensure that there's generally a peaceful environment. So when I have a problem with overemphasizing the role of security. The security has its role.
Security is very central. Yeah, you've had them running.
That's the point I'm making, that we should encourage ourselves to keep this. Yes, we have the election constables, we have the security systems within the polling stations, but we should not allow a situation where, whenever we're talking about elections, the first point that we're talking about is the security agencies, because they are there to provide a support system. So when you say, should we be concerned about the level of engagement of the security agencies? Our position is this is a civic activity. The police should come in to do its regular role. The security agencies should, the other security agencies should really, it should be a point of last resort that should not really cause so much debate among us.
Afande Babunova, what are some of the critical scenarios that you've mapped as security ahead of Jan 15th?
Critical scenarios in which sense?
Critical scenarios that would involve security to step in and maybe up your game.
I think, as my sister Pauline said, security is there to execute its mandate. We know the primary actor here is the Electoral Commission. The police is there to ensure that whatever Electoral Commission is handling, the voters and the whole exercise is handled in a calm and secure environment. As simple as that. And so, we expect everybody to comply to that effect. That you've turned up at the polling station, you've got the polling officials, you've got the materials, you voted, and you wait for the announcement of the results.
But you earlier hinted on how deeply disturbed you are about the Kalonde sloganeering, Kalonde Kakume Kabanji. Is it anything that you see could raise a trouble spot?
I should say that by all intent, this election is going to go on peacefully, and the police is well equipped and ready to secure the process. So there should be no cause for worry. Whoever is going to disturb the process, security will act accordingly.
Why do you emphasize police? I thought it's joint. Security.
The police is the lead agency. The other ones coming to give support. But the police is the lead agency in this. However, it works in line and in coordination with other security agencies, constitutionally mandated, the UPDF, the prisons, and the UA.
As someone who has been very active in all the political processes, all the elections over time, how unique is this forthcoming election? And what do you think the country should be watching?
From my side, my candidate, presidential, my parliamentary candidates and others, generally speaking, we have obeyed, we have run the course as agreed in the joint meetings with the Electoral Commission and other political parties and candidates. By today, my presidential candidate had done 141 public rallies, in addition, of course, to other engagements. I have seen that except one presidential candidate, except one political party, the rest of the political parties and the presidential candidates, in my view, in my assessment, have similarly complied with the agreement, the rules by the Electoral Commission. I have not had a single case so far. FDC, and the other political parties and having issues, either with big issues with the Electoral Commission. I think if they have them, they try to raise them within the joint committees, the joint committees that have been put in place. I have not had them having street battles, for example, with the law enforcement. I have not had them issuing threats. Even the FDC, I think, as they say, once bitten, twice shy. I think they tried the defiance, they tried the civil disobedience, didn't take them far. This time, generally, you can see that FDC has run what I would say a clean, peaceful campaign. Thirdly, you can see that they have not joined NUP on its rough voyage. And therefore, I think we should give them credit that they have not joined NUP in the rough voyage. And I think that should tell NUP, because all these things when you're talking about police and security, it is mainly NUP, and not even NUP as a party, their presidential candidate is the one who's having trouble. And I think that should give them a step back and say why. Honorable Semuju here is a very robust guy in the election. It is a positive.
It's a compliment.
It's a compliment. NUP people should be able to say, how come Honorable Semuju has this time had issues? How come Honorable Nandarama, you remember he once stood on a tank, a military tank in Mbani?
With Wabudea, when he was contesting.
Yes, with his white shorts. Yeah? You remember him? He hasn't done so. So I think Mrs. Kyagulanyi and NUP should be able to step back and say, if there is a general in this election who should be issuing threats, I think for that reason they should be able to say this raising tension, They should. So for me, that has been a plus in this election, and I think all this brahaha of Chagulanyi and some few elements of NUP, Mwanga Kivumbi, I think they will come to their...
Where things stand, what is NRM's projection? This is the best time now.
Well, first of all, from the parliamentary elections, NRM has 19 returned and opposed. If you are
unscrupulous,
where you are disqualifying people.
Well, I think they are disqualified through a legal procedure, transparent. And if there's anybody who says it was disqualified through an opaque procedure, the courts of law are available for them to seek a redress, including stopping this election not to go ahead until their matters are heard. You'd be insincere to yourself if a party that has 19 members of parliament returned unopposed is not the one going to win.
They are actually 29 if you add the military.
Those are not part of NRM.
They are NRM.
They are part of the state. The UPDF is part of the state, not part of NRM. Now, and it is provided for in the Constitution and the relevant laws. Now, personally, I have traveled in this campaign. The only place I have not been to is Western Uganda. I seem to see that even in Buganda, which we lost last time at both presidential and parliamentary, presidential, parliament, and local, there's a sense in which I see NRM getting back some votes. It may not get overwhelming majority, but there's a sense. And where am I seeing this? I can see the enthusiastic support. There's no intimidation. There's no overt. In the last campaign, you would not find easily posters of NRM people. You will not find easily people walking, putting on NRM t-shirts. I am seeing that presence now. But also, the utter failure of NUP and the internal implosion, I think, has given the people of this area the type of leadership NUP can provide. I think they have disqualified themselves from the vote in some votes in Buganda, and so NRM is going to take, and so is Busoga. The rest of the country, I don't see NUP.
So it's purely yours to lose now?
Yes, yeah, it is purely ours to lose, and we can only lose by two things. If we, the NRM mobilizers, do something strange that throws people out, that offends common sense. Secondly, because we are the ones who run the state, if this guy is here, like some of the things they have been doing, some unnecessary, some uncalled for. And let me add, there's this ongoing dispute about the flag. If NUP has been ingenious, more ingenious than NRM, to use the flag, the national flag, as a symbol of their mobilization, I don't see why people should begrudge them, regardless of what the law says. Now, if, for example, let me just give, if enough people want to use the flag to mobilize their people to come and vote, my strong advice would be that you guys, let those people come to vote. Don't try to snatch their flag. Otherwise, you cause unnecessary confrontation. Except, of course, if they want to use the flag as a symbol of resistance, as a symbol of defiance, then that, like what you're saying, if somebody has cast his vote and he has his flag 20 meters, 30 meters away, why bother with him? Leave them. So NRM can lose this election if these guys do some of the things they have been doing.
So the shabbiness of
we would implore them. Yeah, we would implore them to be professional. You can be firm without being overboard.
Thank you. As we take a break, Mr. Bukenya, what are some of the key concerns that the Electoral Commission feels ought to be fixed before Jan 15th?
Key concerns from stakeholders. Generalized Electoral Commission, of course, we want to make sure that there is compliance with our guidelines, because we nominated candidates and they are campaigning. We want them to finish the race, and that polling day has a free participation and a higher turnout. So our concern then would be orderly conduct, because the law does not go away because we're in an electoral environment. And that's why we say even the polling station is a regulated environment. Polling stations are gazetted areas, and there are guidelines that we follow at a polling station. There's a way you conduct yourself at a polling station.
Don't you find it awkward that you're going into this election without sufficient or any voter education? None whatsoever.
No, definitely, like my sister observed, we continue to have a challenge of continuous voter education. But there's been a mobilization and engagement of stakeholders, and for that matter, even voter education about the successive activities we've been doing, which is why there's been participation. But definitely, our voter education needs to go through.
Did you conduct voter education?
Yeah, definitely, we did conduct voter education. The question has been...
Honorable Samudi, was there voter education in your constituency?
But you had asked me a question, and I think I was answering the question.
No. You'll come in. Was there voter education?
Maybe they were educating themselves.
He has given an answer. I think I can continue with my subject.
And I want to encourage you. I was on a radio station, and people asking very basic questions. I turn up at a polling station. I didn't pick a voter location slip. I don't have an ID. Do I vote? So there are basic questions that you need to be answering almost regularly between now and the polling day. Because there are people who may stay away because they missed the opportunity to pick the slips.
So I'm saying...
We've had this renewal of national IDs, and people in some areas there's a struggle actually to be able for people to get their national
We've
IDs.
guided very well, and we continue guiding even as we go into polling, which is our voter education it still needs to be upped up, but it has also been thematic. When we are doing a particular activity, we target on that. But we have guided voters that the National Voters Register is the basis for voting. You must have been registered as a voter, and you present yourself at a polling station where you're registered as a voter. So we've issued VLS, voter location slip, but we've also guided that if on polling day you don't see your voter location slip, or you don't see a national ID card, you can still present yourself.
Aren't you worried that quite a number of people are likely to stay away?
No, we are not. We don't think that is the case. We've seen, Simon, we think there is a lot of enthusiasm. Also, because when we are doing voter education, the candidates are also doing voter education. They are mobilizing people to come and support them. We have seen a lot of enthusiasm, Ugandans getting ready to participate in this election, and we are also calling upon...
So you project the number could be high?
We project that the number will be high, and we've prepared for you Ugandans to turn up and vote. Come and vote for the candidates of your choice. They're out there campaigning. Candidates have achieved up to 90% now of their campaign schedules. They've gone around the country.
As we take a break, on average, how many voters, or what's the speed of the biometric voter machine?
The biometric voter machine is as fast as the biometric system we used here, because it scans. It is a fast scan. It's 5 seconds just to scan your detail, and it flashes.
While at Parliament, it took...
There was education. It was a voter education. It was a voter education session. There was an explanation. We are not explaining that to the voter because they don't need it. When you present yourself and your thumbprint is imposed onto a machine, does it take a minute? It doesn't take a minute, definitely. And swiping a card is something that you do always. It doesn't take minutes. And that's why the polling stations for that
Where
matter.
is the back end for this machine?
But what we've also done...
For this information.
But they are imposing their thumbprints onto the machine. And immediately...
Haven't you gone to your bank and your ATM fails to work, and your own card, your own thumbprint fails to work? You repeat 5 times?
Then we have a facial recognition system.
Where is the back end for this information that you'll be collecting?
So, let me finish that because I needed to take our viewers through it. I think our stakeholders have been saying that let's improve the integrity of the elections. Let's fight ballot paper stuffing, things like that, and ineligible voters coming to the stations. And the biometric has been used in previous elections. It is being used for the third time in Uganda, and we're taking it to another level. I think we need to support that effort and to mobilize our voters to participate in that. The biometric is assigned to that polling station, and all the data that is captured on that polling day is for that polling station.
Simon thinks that the back end is ISO.
Demonstrated that they are up to the game, they have procured everything. Security has also spoken. How about the voter? What remains unanswered for the ordinary voter?
I don't understand the question. Help me.
Ordinarily, how are the voters reacting? I know you on the ground. Is there a sense of enthusiasm? Are there reservations? And where are they coming from?
I haven't noticed changes worth sharing. This election, compared to at a parliamentary level, as my sister here said, we have not been disturbed. We have access to voters. We have addressed rallies if you want. There are those who are moving, knocking at doors. But we have a huge problem promoted by Museveni over a number of years. He has devalued public offices. Many people don't think if you elect an MP, that there is work for an MP, there is work for an LC chairperson, because he has been consistently saying you can bring an MP even if he sleeps, as long as he wakes up to vote NRM. And that's why I said here that Ofonopono would be a very good value addition.
But for the record,
So
in this election, in this campaign, the president hasn't encouraged bring mediocrity.
He has changed.
He has not. In this election,
He has changed or kept quiet.
he has changed. I think he has been beaten by the previous and this parliament with those mediocrity people. He now wants material.
So the voters that you meet, there are areas where the level of civic competence is a bit high. But many of them, I don't think, have an idea, first of all, what an MP does, what a district chairperson does, including, by the way, in some areas, candidates themselves.
No, but Honorable Semuju, the places that bring really bad MPs who don't know what to urban centers, where civic competence you would assume, because that's where highest concentration of educated people and managed people is.
You're about to say where the opposition enjoys
No.
a bit of a struggle.
Those are your words.
So because us who are interested parties, you want to go and plead with voters to vote for you. The Electoral Commission should have been advising the Uganda Human Rights Commission functions of, because I don't think people have an idea. I told people in my constituents, because in the last election, the NRM cheated an LC3 chairperson who had won. He can't write his name, but people had voted him to supervise graduates. So you come at a municipality where the town clerk and all the other staff are graduates with a budget of 30 billion and 50 billion. And then you send the councillors, you saw them when they were swearing in. And that becomes a council to represent the population at that administrative unit.
Here.
They are the ones responsible for passing budgets for those local administration, but they can't even swear one sentence or paragraph in English. Of course, people usually are very angry with me when I tell it, because even at a parliamentary level, you remember when Museveni returned the budget, and people were abusing us, those of us who sit on the budget committee, that we had altered the priorities of government. I had told them that Museveni has removed the money from ambulances and surgical wards and he had given it to Magora. And then they ran mad. That group of 559, they pass a budget whose content they don't know. It's a ceremony, every May they pass a budget. And then they begin discovering in their own budget things that they approved. And you keep, so it's very painful, by the way. It's very painful. You are killing this country. You bring people in parliament.
But he's part of the quality that...
Him, I am very happy. I hope they can bring more of him, because these ones can make a mistake, but knowing that they are making a mistake. But the others who don't even think that they are making a mistake. At local government, big problem, because these are supposed to be the supervisors of the civil service. But because they're extremely vulnerable, they know nothing, they basic things. So the voters are disadvantaged because of Human Rights Commission and because of Electoral Commission. For them, him taking dates and the things he has done, he thinks it is a success.
On the roadmap.
He thinks it is a success. The success should be to deliver a pair of human resource that will change people's lives. Not just taking, now we have delivered the boxes, now the boxes have arrived, and then you go and celebrate. You should be imprisoned for that.
Giving them flowers.
Both of you have a duty to ensure we have a set of human resource that will change lives in Uganda.
Well, Pauline.
But Kenya celebrates dates.
There is another looming issue that seems to be stoking a lot of fear amongst Ugandans. The imminent shutdown of internet during elections. Has the Human Rights Commission addressed yourselves to that?
We've had, like everybody else has had, concerns about will the internet be shut down. Even today, I had the chairperson of the Uganda Communications Commission saying that there is no imminent internet shutdown. That is the position that we have had, and so we are looking keenly to see, whether the position, because he said there's no looming internet shutdown. If there's any shutdown that's going to happen, it will be communicated. Those were his words. Those were his words. It will be communicated, and there will be guidance provided. So from our side, we want to see, okay, this is the regulator. This is what they are saying. Because, I mean, we know the importance of having access to information at such a time. And so we're waiting to see.
For the benefit of our viewers, what's your role in this election? And how far can you go in straightening up things?
Elections or voting is one of the rights, many rights that we
As
enjoy.
UHRC,
yes.
What are you doing?
We are monitoring. That's one of our primary roles. We are supposed to, and I think it's a fair question to ask, because sometimes people assume that we are part of the participants in the game. We are not. We are there to observe our processes. That's why in the beginning I said, is the legal framework there? Are the processes being followed? Is
but
there
your silence on
responsiveness from
security brutality
we have not been
is
silent.
very loud.
Mr. Angela, we've not been silent. That's an unfair indictment on us. And also there's this expectation that every time whatever the commission does must be done out there in the public. No.
What are you doing?
We are engaging from the very beginning. Actually, when the roadmap was first issued, actually even way before the roadmap, we started having dialogues with religious leaders, with cultural leaders, because the message is we must have peace, we must have access, we must be able to participate. We engage with the security agencies. These people are very, very good friends. We are constantly with them, training in human rights. Even when there are issues that come up, the chairperson, the members at different levels, we engage. Sometimes, in fact, usually, when you hear us come out and issue a formal statement, that's a very big indictment, Mr. Angela. It's not a casual thing for a national human rights institution to issue a statement and say this went wrong. But sometimes I think people imagine that we are just one other civil society organization that is adding a voice.
Who have been caught on camera, live, brutalizing supporters of candidates, individually liable, and what would you do to them?
They are definitely they're individually liable. When those incidences happen, you've actually had the chairperson come out and say, police, I hope you, we expect that you've taken action against these people. And many times, in fact, we fault police because many times they take action, but they don't communicate. That's one of the challenges we've had with them. Many times you find that these people are disciplined internally with their processes, and we believe that internal self-policing is actually the best way to ensure that you strengthen, because we want to strengthen the institutions. We don't want to also add to become another police to those institutions.
Thank you. Afande Pamnova, do you agree that the conduct of some of your officers during campaigns has been wanting, and what have you done to them?
Yeah, there is always never a failure to have bad apples in the basket. Certainly, there could be those officers who are not up to the task. And we've used the internal mechanisms to address those challenges. Like?
Could you tell us three officers who have been reprimanded over misconduct during campaigns?
No, I may not have the specific names. I may not have the names offhand, but we've taken action. We've taken action using the internal mechanism. We have the
Like on which particular event
we
have
have
you
the
taken
disciplinary
action?
courts. On which particular events?
Yes. Have you arraigned any officer
Any
in
event
court?
where there's been a complaint, genuine and visible complaint, and officers have misbehaved, they have been subjected to the internal mechanism, where we have tried them through our disciplinary courts and action is taken.
Okay. Where is the red line
Except
on this?
now you're saying we should open the internal system to the public.
Yes, that's
But also the bureau has
accountability.
always come
That's
out to announce
accountability.
this.
I mean, because there is a sense that the growing impunity within forces is because officers will come out, brutalize the public, and no one will touch them.
Do you have specific names? And you say these ones? No, the names, the specific names, you have
So you
them?
don't know who you deployed in Kawemba should be the
So
one
that's why I'm
saying
saying
you.
we address the concern.
So tell
internally.
us in Kawembe, they were beating journalists, beating candidates, beating everybody.
But you see, it is your word
So
against my word. You're saying.
who did you discipline
So
in
do you have the
Kawembe?
specific officer? Do you have the specific names?
Did I deploy them?
There is
Tell me who-
Muchibi. There
the
is the
police which
notorious
deployed.
Afande Muchibi. I think you know him. He's been everywhere.
There is Serunjoji in Sechikubo's constituency, the one who shot and killed a person.
Senator, police officer?
Are you not responsible for law and order?
No, I'm asking you. Which senator you are
So you
referring
mean
to?
you don't arrest soldiers if they kill?
Why not? They are not above the law.
Then you're asking me, I'm telling you, the one who shot, Lieutenant.
There is Afande Muchibi. I think he's become so notorious.
In which instance has he been in notorious?
On quite a number of rallies, he's been seen smashing cars and brutalizing supporters of Chagulanyi. What have you done to him?
I think the issue of Muchibi might be being overblown because Muchibi at his level
you
is a
go.
commander, right? And so he's commanding the junior forces.
So where is the limit? I mean, at what point do you say that this officer has misbehaved?
If the office has acted contrary
To what?
to the laws and to the internal mechanisms of the
If he has been
institution.
asked to beat,
No, look, the Afande Muchibi I'm referring to openly assaulted, I think he's done magic,
Assaulted who?
on camera, one of the inner ring personalities of Chagulanyi. He beat him up. And there is also another BBS guy who was brutalized before cameras.
If there is a glaring evidence, then the action can be taken against him.
You have no
Maybe we
evidence.
need to have I haven't watched it. I haven't.
So, how central is the conduct of security, especially as we head to elections? And how cautious do they have to be? Because at the beginning, Afande Bamunova said, if someone is acting contrary to the law, we shall pick them. Now, the general sense is that there are kidnaps happening.
I am not aware of the kidnaps. It is the words of Mr. Chagulanyi, Rovongoya, Katana, against that of the police. I think they need to, and I think the word kidnap is being used deliberately to show that we are a lawless society. Where somebody has been arrested or apprehended by security, of course this is our law. Whether you are arrested by the army or the police or anybody else, they should identify themselves. They should disclose where that person is being held. And then the reason. I think in some cases, there have been instances where there have been those lapses, particularly people arrested by the army. I would implore our colleagues in the UPDF, our standard in the UPDF for a long time is that we are transparent. You can make mistakes, you arrest a bad person or a good person for no reason, but you should disclose where they are. I would implore UPDF to go back to that standard. Otherwise, you are, and the president has said, why do I arrest a person and beat them or don't disclose? Of what evidential value?
and of you believed
is it?
him.
Now, why will police come? Quite often, it is because of our behavior. When you offend the law, police or any other organ will come and apprehend you. but they should take you through a due process. So if you don't want the law to come to you, behave well. And in this election, I want to implore my fellow citizens, even when you're having big contestation with the NRM, first of all, don't underestimate NRM. Why would somebody abuse the person, the direct person of the president, for example? Because we, the ordinary citizens, we don't have anything that brings us in a touch ordinarily. Criticize his policy, criticize his method strongly, bring evidence. But if you go overboard, for sure, like now we are having this thing of whether or not people should be at the polling station after voting. Be at the polling station. But please, keep calm. If you come and attack Ofono and then police comes, please don't cry. So let us know our limit. Unfortunately, in Uganda and in politics, there are people who think that when they are candidates, the law gets suspended. I think it is not a behavior we should encourage. You have seen when people are members of parliament, a traffic police officer.
Or do you want to look at a journalist who was being brutalized?
No, first of all,
we can play it as you make your analysis.
A traffic police officer stops them and says, "Do you know who I am?" You're a member of parliament. A police officer stops you. Why should you say, "Do you know?"
Look at that.
Now,
look at that.
No, I don't. You have brought it. I don't know what preceded the confrontation. It is possible he was restrained. And he said, I am a journalist. Why are you stopping me? But even when you're a journalist doing your work.
Can we have a balanced coverage? What precipitated that arrest?
Yes.
It does not matter.
What precipitated?
It does not matter. You're looking at police beating the citizens.
But you can say the man is resisting.
You have just
resisting what?
Resisting
in the line of duty.
No. You have a line of duty must be.
You're clobbering the journalist who is holding a camera.
Clobbering him is a different matter. But are you saying that when I'm a journalist and I'm taking pictures, I cannot be restrained, I cannot be advised? Now, you have just used here a phrase, Kyagulanyi is in a ring. The state has given you police officers to guard you, the presidential candidate. What are those people doing in a ring?
They should beat them.
Is that a crime?
Should they be beaten?
By the time
These are his assistants.
No, by the time you see a presidential candidate having a body-to-body contact with police officers, with security officials, law enforcement, then you know that presidential candidate has something wrong with his head. Which other presidential candidate have you seen having body-to-body contact with the police officers? Except Besigye those days, and I think Mr. Kyagulanyi is trying to imitate. He can't even see where did this kind of behavior lead Besigye to.
Well, Mr. Bukenya.
But if you want to know really whether Mr. Kyagulanyi has influence in this election, I'm watching 2 constituencies. That's why I will know that he's such a powerful man.
Which are these?
But Kyagulanyi is not contesting. Kyagulanyi is not contesting for parliament.
And his campaign against Semuju, if he defeats Semuju with his candidate, then I will know he's very powerful.
I'm afraid we need to bring
but
this to an end, and I really want to thank you. Afande Babunova, thank you for joining us. Pleasure having you. Mr. Bukenya, thank you for joining us. Madam Pauline, thank you for coming in. And Honorable Semuju. That's it. Let's go and vote.